calling all educators with a passion for teaching and a health for faith. Get ready for a transformative journey with the Educators with Oil podcast, where host Ronnette Branham is dedicated to helping teachers become better through biblical strategies.
Welcome to Educators with Oil. Welcome, family. I am your hostess, Ronnette Branham, here to equip, inspire, and pour into educators, especially those of faith, who are walking in their purpose. This is where purpose meets the classroom and the oil flows. Yes, whether you're in the classroom, leading a school, or supporting teachers, this is a place for wisdom, strategies, and a little anointing to keep you going. So with that, I'm excited for this conversation. I want to dive into this conversation we have two guests, and I love when we have male guests. It brings a different perspective into this podcast. You know, there's a lot of teachers who are women, you know, all across the board. I think we're like 80% women in the classroom. And then when we have male figures coming on the show, it's just amazing to me. And so I have Isaiah Mason and Quentin Washington. So I'm going to bring them on, and then they're going to introduce themselves. How are you today, guys?
Hello. How's it going?
It's going great. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. One time we had a show, twice actually, because we brought it back. We had two Black male teachers. In that perspective, it was so different. Things that I thought I knew, you know, about having Black men in the school. I didn't. I thought I knew some things. I knew that we used them for discipline, and we called them, you're going to go to Mr. Johnson's class, stuff like that. But the way they spoke of it, because they're in it, it just was awesome. So I'm excited about this. So with that said, since you're already speaking, Quentin, could you introduce yourself?
All right. Quentin Washington. So I live here in DeRidder, Louisiana. That is about 2 hours west of Baton Rouge, just to give you some perspective. Retired from the military in 2022. I worked on post for a little bit after my retirement as a transition assistant, basically like instructor, teaching resumes and stuff like that. I did that for a little bit, but then, man, my purpose brought me full circle to being a JROTC instructor. And one day I was just browsing. I was wanting to work at the alternative school, but I found a JROTC slot that was open, and I'll talk about it later, how I landed it. And I say full circle because my JROTC instructor inspired me. So, and I mean, I'm loving it. I'm completing my 3rd year right now, and just re-signed my contract. So I'll be back at it next year.
Oh, I love it. Okay, thanks for sharing that, Isaiah.
Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be here and get into this conversation. I am a music teacher in Central New Jersey. Over the years, I've taught 3rd through 12th all instrumental band and orchestra. I also serve in the New Jersey National Guard and as a 42 Romeo, which is a musician, thankfully. So when we talk about the purpose, it allows me, you know, God gave me that purpose to teach. I'm doing that, grateful, and then to play music. I get to serve the country doing that as well. So I'm very grateful for that.
Wait, I'm like one of those people. You say something, you got my attention. You said you play in the military. You play your instrument.
Yes, so I'm a part of the 63rd Army Band. Each National Guard has a band that they use for their state. So I'm a part of New Jersey's, and currently I French horn, trumpet, and sometimes a vocalist for them when they need it. And in addition to those duties, I am a part of the military funeral honor program as well. So the New Jersey Honor Guard, and there I get to be one of the live buglers that they use to honor our veterans that have gone on, in addition to like the folding the flag ceremony. So yes, I do get to play and serve through music, and I'm grateful.
Oh, so thank you for your service. I for both of you. I remember I used to, I was friends with a few people in the military, but going out with them when they had on a uniform, all you heard was "thank you for your service," and I never thought of that before I knew them. Like I see military. I mean, in New Jersey, you see military guys everywhere. National Guard is right up the street from me, and so I never said anything to them. I'm like, okay, all right, they got on a uniform, but I never thought to say to them, "Thank you for your service." So I'm saying that now. Thank you for your service, guys.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you. Yeah. So you two, both of you have resumes that make me want to go way off from what we're talking about. Yeah. So just you introduce yourself. So how does that working with young people? How has that your calling evolved since you began working with young people in the school? So Isaiah is a music teacher, and then he still has that military background. And then Quentin, you work directly with the students, JROTC. So how do you see that this work evolve since you began working with students, or has it?
So I'm quite familiar with the JROTC program. I did 4 years of it in high school myself, and as I was in the Army, in the military, I've always been that person to coach, teach, and mentor, empower others, and stuff like that. And what I love about the JROTC program is it's one of the biggest character development programs in the world, basically. I mean, we have schools, we have about 1,700 schools across the United States. That's just basically the mission is to motivate young people to become better citizens. There's a misconception about JROTC because a lot of people think we're trying to recruit and put people into the military, but that's absolutely not the case. It's all about character development and challenging them to push beyond their means, push beyond their capabilities, and instill just leadership, discipline, and pride in themselves. I love it.
You know what I did? I appreciate that, because that's kind of before I messed up the question.
Oh,
I did it. The question was, how has your calling evolved since you started working with with students? Because you went in as one thing. Have you changed? Either one can answer the question.
So I realized that at first, I teach music, and that's what I've taught. That was my subject matter. And when I went in, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to be a good music teacher. I'm just going to do my job and teach the kids how to play these instruments. And then it took, after joining, because I actually joined the National Guard after I was teaching already for a few years. And then going through that process, and I came back, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm not just here to teach them how to play instruments. I'm here to teach them, which is what every educator is here for, to prepare them to be citizens of the world.
that's right.
I'm just doing it through music. So
Right.
when you say about the purpose, I knew that I was going to be a teacher. I'm thankful that I knew it early in high school. But then what was my purpose in being that? And what kind of teacher was I going to be? My pastor and Pastor Mary, she prayed for me when I went off to college. She said, "You're going to be a man of purpose, a man of influence." I didn't really know what that meant. But now I'm in this role. I'm like, okay, I understand. I'm going to, in this role, help these students get to where they need to be. So because I'm teaching discipline, responsibility, accountability, teamwork, things that we're going to get into later, I know.
Right.
It's making the music making easier because they're learning these other skills. I focus a lot of my teaching on teaching them skills that they need for life. And then the music just comes naturally because they understand how to listen and work and observe and critique, critically think, and apply.
Oh, so okay. So you didn't know at first what you wanted to do, but you knew you wanted to be a teacher and how you were going to.
So I knew I was going to be a music teacher. Actually, I just didn't know I didn't understand the impact that it could have. I didn't understand the role or how important it was. I in my head, I'm just going to be a good music teacher. Like I'm just going to teach them how to play. But it's more than that.
So honestly, for me, it started when I was in the 8th grade. Right. My dad just recently passed away, but he was military, right? And but he wasn't really there home a lot. I understand now why he wasn't there home a lot, But in the 8th grade, my JROTC, I saw this gentleman. He wasn't even my instructor yet. And I was like, I want to be like him. Sergeant Major Brown, Sergeant Major Howard Brown. He just retired from JROTC. And I went under his tutelage and went into the military. And of course, there was trials, ups and downs. And I had that vision which pulled me to be like him, but I didn't really see it coming full circle like it did. And the day when I got the job to, like JROTC instructor, I called him and told him, like, hey, Sergeant Major, guess what? I'm a JROTC instructor. He was just like, really? I'm like, yeah. So it was always planted there.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where you just operating out of purpose and stuff like that. And I can go deeper into that later, but it was magical how it happened.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's so funny how we know what we want to do and how we actually evolve into something we're supposed to be. And we didn't realize, or we had to learn along the way. And then we become these influencers, we're inspiration for students, these motivators that we knew it was there, but we really didn't understand the magnitude. So I could appreciate both of you saying that, because you do actually transform lives, whether we came into it as that or not. So I have two questions. Quentin, how does your JROTC experience shape the way you approach student leadership and discipline? Because what grade? This is high school, right?
Yep, I teach high school.
Okay.
So it's definitely, I would say my first year, I was a lot more rigid, being freshly retired from the military. I had to like tell myself, like, I'm not active duty no more. And that's even, with my family, just coming off of being, just go, strict. One of the things that I've learned with my approach in leadership is to leverage more of a transformational type style of leadership, to where I try to inspire intrinsic motivation out of students, which I boldly tell my students, I'd rather you listen to yourself more than you listen to me, because you're going to be here. I'm going to be here for 4 years. Granted, some have graduated and we still keep in contact, but for the majority, I'm temporary, right? But I want you to be able to tell yourself to do the right thing. Don't just do the right thing because I tell you. So I'm a more of a transformational leader versus just, being strict. And it's unpopular, it's harder. It's like steering the ship around the iceberg, so to say, but it has so much value in the end, right? And you should see their faces when I tell them that. I'd rather you listen to you more than you listen to me.
There was a woman on here a few weeks ago, and that's what she teaches, is how to, to be self-regulating, and how to, learn yourself enough that you
absolutely
can regulate your emotions, and then you can direct where you want to go based off who you are. And so, yeah, I get that. So Isaiah, with that, how do you infuse military values into your music classroom? And how do your students respond to that, if you do infuse it?
So they actually kind of go hand in hand with the music discipline anyway. If unlike not to talk about any other subjects a certain way, but if I have a math test and I get 95% of the questions correct, I do well. But if you're in the music room, we get 95% of the piece correct, it's going to sound interesting. So just already in the field, the discipline, we have to have that type of meticulousness, intention to detail already. So that's what I brought to it. So I was already there, like, okay, this is how we need to focus. This is not right. This is not right. But what the military did for me was give me a way to channel that. Especially when I started off teaching, it was just like the Quentin said, the discipline. It was just, we go. Still great relationship with students, but I wasn't as effective as I thought I was being. Military changed it. Okay, got it. We have these Army values that we talk about. Okay, got it. They taught me how to just drill sayings, and then fake motivation becomes real motivation. Little small things where you just say it. Hey, I'm getting you guys to get into this mindset change, and then your actions will change as a result of the mindset shift. So we really focus a lot on, I teach younger students currently. Right now I teach 5th and 6th grade full time. And I'm grateful that I get to have them a little bit younger. So they're a little bit easier to mold.
Mm-hmm.
He says by the time they're 10, they've already set their values. And I'm in a position right now where a lot of the 5th and 6th graders I had when they were in 3rd and 4th grade as well. So I've been with some of these kids for a long time. So we're teaching us accountability and responsibility. And that's how we approach discipline, is that, hey, there's nothing personal. That's why we can have a good relationship, because you did A, B is your consequence. And I still love you. See you tomorrow. But that's just what it is. But Mr. Mason, can I? Nope. Take the feelings out of it. So that's the approach I take it as. Like, there's responsibility. You're accountable for that action or that choice. And I look forward to seeing you next class. Hopefully it's a different setting, and that's been quite effective in my classroom, at least with the students that I have.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that just goes straight into my next question about the structure. How does it help the students thrive? So, especially, we have students come from chaotic, unstable environments, and then they're in the school with you, and then both of you have this discipline. And then, especially in music, because a lot of students, people who study music, sometimes they come from chaotic environments, and that helps them. And how does it help them? But I was going to start saying something like I'm an expert, but how does it help students thrive, that structure that you instill in the students?
I do something when I get my students I'm gonna say this. In the military, we have this thing called understanding the operational environment, where you study your environment before you go into it and things of that nature, right? I took that same type approach in the sense of understanding who the students are. So, and the backgrounds that they came from and the things that they went through. So I seek to understand who they are. So I do this assignment called past, present, and future me, right? So this is at the beginning of the year. They do a slideshow on it too. They put up pictures. So I'm learning who mom is. I'm learning who the uncle is. I'm learning who a foster parent is. I'm learning all this stuff about them. And they brief their past and, what type behaviors that they had. They used to say, I was a troublemaker, or I got in trouble, or I spent time in alternative school, or whatever. They talk about that. And then they talk about the present. This is me right now. I'm trying to do better. I got a new sister, new brother. So I'm learning about the family. And then they talk about the future me. Like this is me. I want to be a tugboat captain. I want to be a realtor. I want to be a surgeon, because there was a surgeon that did surgery on my mom and saved my mom. So I'm leveraging I'm gathering information, and I'm leveraging that in my approach as far as shaping them, right? Shaping them. So I'm not just calling them, like in JROTC, we only use last names. But I use last names, but I also call them, hey, how's my tugboat captain doing today? And empowering them and stuff like that. And but I think once, like, students don't care about what you know until they know that you care. And when you can connect in that way, it's easier to mold and shape them in the direction that they want to go. You know what I'm saying? And you hold them accountable against the way and the direction that they want to go. You said you want to go to this direction. You want to score 300 on our PT test. That's what you want to do. So on our PT day, I need you to come ready. If you don't come ready, you're going to get held accountable. You're not showing up in Crocs. You're showing up in running shoes, right? And holding them accountable against what they want makes a difference in molding them, I think.
Yeah. Okay, Isaiah. I have a lot to say after that, but I want to let Isaiah speak.
The structure provides the opportunity for risk and vulnerability. So if they know exactly what to expect when they go into a room that's consistent, then they can put that guard down. Then they can say, okay, I'm willing. Okay, I know this person. I know what he's going to say when I do this. I know what to expect after this activity. Let me take a risk and try to expand myself or grow myself here. And then that's where we're pushing at this age, at the age that I'm working with, getting them to a spot where they can just take those risks is one of my goals. Because the relationship is there, because the rapport, again, consistency. I know them now, they know me. And a different way. I actually really love that activity, past, present, future. I'm thinking about how I can put that into my classroom. But it's just the point of what he's saying is just knowing and how you can tailor and provide individual experiences in a larger structure of settings. So getting to know those students that way, then the opportunities for growth just multiply.
Yeah, because I think based on what you're saying, and then I'm thinking about me right now. I can't think of me as a child, as a kid. I just can't take myself back that far. But when I know who I am, and you talk to me about what I want and who I want to be, that is going to help me thrive, because I'm going to be thinking about what it is that I want, and so I'm going to be working towards it. So that will cause the student to thrive. I can't see anything else happening except them thinking and listening to themselves, or taking that discipline, not even as discipline, but as a way of life, because you show me who I want to be, and now I can do it. So I like that. Just like Shanae said, she loved that activity, the past, present, future. Yeah, that's something, because we need to dig into ourselves, because what we're going to do, it's better to do it as a child, to get into that mode, than to wait until we're 40, 30, 40 and trying to figure ourselves out. People talking about they're going to find themselves. We should already know who we are. So I see, this is a thing. I know it's called an effective teacher, but there's something different about having a man in the classroom. I want to take it further and say a Black man, African-American man in the school, because it's a different way, something that we don't see regularly. I don't want to, they call people unicorns and stuff, but it's something that we don't see regularly, and it makes us admire you. So again, I thank you for your service in the school and everything. I keep going. I don't want to dig into that, but I could appreciate your activities and how you get the students to think. So
it even says it: train up a child in the way they shall go, and when they're old, they will not depart.
Amen.
Right? And that's our role, is to get them there.
Amen.
Absolutely. I say it every single show, because it is absolutely. Why are we here? Why are we here? Why are we in a school with children if we're not trying to train them the way they should go? If they're supposed to be who they are, we got to help them get to who they are, and that's training them up. I mean, teaching them how to learn themselves, how to study. So I can appreciate that. Can you share a story? It doesn't have to, have to be a student right now that you have, but a student story who experienced significant growth because of your military influence approach. Do you have a story that you could look back and say, oh yeah, if I didn't give them that, they probably would have been going the opposite direction?
I can let Isaiah go first if we want this time.
So my stories are a little bit smaller. It's more about just the mindset change that happens, because again, I teach the younger ones, so they're still figuring out their journey and still going through it in different schools. But I had this one student who it was just a simple discipline of coming to your music lessons. If you want to get good at trumpet, then you got to be there to get good at trumpet. So we worked on that. It had its excuses. I kept forgetting. Okay, but then it wasn't like a back and forth disrespectful way, but we had a back and forth, a little bit, a conversation of, well, I want to be in this class, but just like Quentin said, but you also want to be good at your instrument. Okay, well, I don't have to be good then. It's fine. Well, no, you signed up for this, so now you've committed to this. We have a contract, in the military. You have a contract, and our contract is for the rest of this year that you're going to commit to this. And while you're here, you shouldn't want to be anything but good. You should want to be anything but great. And if you choose to make a different choice next year, then that's a choice you're making for then. But right now, you committed to something, and you have to put your best foot forward, because it's your duty to be great at this. And then that's when we went into the teamwork thing. So that worked a little bit, then it was temporary. Then he started falling back. I'm like, okay, you understand what I said before. We don't have to go there again. But what about all your band buddies that you're letting down? Because now you're playing trumpet, and that part is missing because you don't know your part. Or have to keep going over the same thing that they all know to try to help you get to where you're going. Then that approach, like, okay, got it. I'm affecting everybody else around me. Helped him get there. And then by the end of the year, one of the best musicians that I've had. and still in it and a lifer. And the teachers after me that they have no problems with him. He's really responsible and he gets it. And we call him one of the lifers, in the program.
Oh, I love it. I think yours is unique because it's music.
Right.
I think it's unique because they have to have discipline in order to play an instrument. You have to practice. You have to, because it's not like math. I can learn, then I can take a little break, and then I come back and I still know how to add. It's not the same thing. So I could appreciate that. Yours is a little. It goes perfectly together.
It's a good combination.
And that music. Okay, Quentin.
All right. In the military, before every weekend starts, we do what we call a safety brief, right? Don't drink and drive, don't do drugs, all this stuff. Every now and then, I'm gonna be real. More often than not, somebody gets in trouble. But you have those long periods where no one gets in trouble. So one of the things, and I'm going somewhere with this, is we never account for the good and the difference that we actually made for someone not to get in trouble, right? We only see when someone gets in trouble, you get that phone call, you got to go pick them up from the MP station and stuff like that. Since working in the school, fortunately for me, I had a similar situation happen. So my students, I've had several that I've impacted, like my direct students went off, joined the military, in college, went to the workforce, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the most special thing for me is, and I love my principal for this, my principal put me in charge of lunch detention, right? So in lunch detention, I'm getting students that are not my direct students, right? I'm talking about kids with ankle monitors, okay? And this one specific kid, and I just talked to him like about their future, and like what do you want? What motivates you? What's holding you back? Here's how you can overcome this, that, and the third. And I just like talk to these kids, and one of the things we do in lunch detention is wipe the tables. What I do first is I grab the first towel out of the bucket and I wipe the first table. And they kind of look at me, So we, student graduates, I'm at a football game. That same kid, right? Later on, just a couple months later, comes tap me on the shoulder, and he's wearing a military uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and I'm a sergeant major, but they call me Sar. Thank you, hey Sar. I just want to say thank you. Those conversations. I think it's things like that. Like I had a kid the other day. Well, it was about a couple weeks ago. He was like, I get lunch detention just to come talk to you. You don't have to get lunch detention to come talk to me. Just come to my classroom. You know what I mean? But it's just all kids need is for someone to believe in them.
Yeah.
I'm not about to get you in lunch detention and continue to just, you already down. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to build you up and let you know like you can do something. And then I share a little bit of my story with them. And I think that tap on the shoulder at the football game by that young man was the biggest impact I've had in the school since I've been working there.
Oh, really? Those are cool because, like you said, we hear the stories or we have the discussions when the students are acting up or have a problem. But sometimes that helps let us see what we're doing, that somebody actually grew, somebody actually learned something, somebody actually changed, was transformed. Right. So I tend to like those stories. I don't know, maybe because I'm that story. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm not sure, but that's so I have these questions and they're all like you're answering all the questions at one time because no, that's not a problem because it flows better instead of question answer. I like that. So the question leads to that balance and discipline and compassion when you're working with these students because students have trauma. I know we used to have trauma. I'm probably older than both of you, but we had trauma. We didn't discuss that stuff in school. We didn't have trauma-informed discussions about how we're going to teach these students when they're coming to us with this. So we have to discipline the students because they need to be corrected. And then we have to have compassion because they may not get compassion at home. They may just get harsh discipline or no discipline, no structure. So how does these challenges, behavioral challenges, how do you balance that in the classroom, or do you have to? I don't know, because I do, and I teach second grade. So how do you balance that? Either.
I can hit on it real quick.
Go ahead.
And I'll be short because my way of instilling discipline and accountability is, I would say, different. Like when I get my students, a part of my end brief is, if I write you up for lunch detention, or if I write you up for suspension or something, just know that I care about you. And I say, and I'll basically it's perspective and it's psychological. I'll tell them, like, you actually want me to write you up, because I care, and what I'm trying to do is course correct you. So don't take it to heart if and they look at me like, what? And I'll tell them, like, you want to get written up, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to get, and they like, what? I'm like, yeah, like, accountability is good, and without it, it's like shipping a package across seas or something. If you don't do the right blocking and bracing, when your stuff gets over there, it's going to be all jacked up. So accountability and those forms of discipline is just and accountability is just, it's structure.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. When I get them like that, I would say throughout this entire year of school, I only written one person up, and that was my troublemaker kid, right? Who people said that he was gonna be a troublemaker when he comes to my class. He's actually my class leader. I wrote him up because I care about him. Other than that, I don't have to write nobody up. It's psychological. They'd be like, what? Like, yeah, you want to get written up. Just do the right. And then they don't do the right. I mean, they don't do it. They don't necessarily do what's wrong because they know I care about them. And if I care about them, like, I'll make them do, like, some push-ups or something like that on just internal. But as far as external, I don't do a whole bunch of that.
Yeah. So you have that compassion. You have to, because if all they hear is harsh, or what they would interpret as harsh, then they'll just be hardened. They won't have that compassion. They won't know how to ever show it. So how about you, Isaiah?
I'm grateful to teach the same way that I was raised. My mama, she loved me down. Like, we had a great relationship, but she'll also tear me up the next second if I deserved it. So it is the kick and stroke. I'm not annoyed with you. I'm annoyed with the choice that you made. I love you. I don't love the action. So I really try to make that separation between the person and the result, to let them know that action is not acceptable. But because it's so consistent, right? So it takes that emotion out of it so that it can be put back in later, that, hey, this conversation we're having is not an emotional thing. I'm not disappointed in you. I'm not upset with you, but I really can't have that action here. And when we separate it that way, then it's allowed a little bit of, it doesn't seem as harsh when it's coming down on them. And then when we want to later, like, hey, dude, come talk to me. What's going on? Then we actually have some honest conversation because they didn't feel like they don't think I hate them, and then they tell me, well, this has happened, or I did that because of this. Okay, well, let's talk about how we can avoid this. And then a lot of times it works. Sometimes we have to have that conversation a few times, but that building emotional intelligence, so that every action, they don't take it so personally.
Yeah. There is sometimes with kids, it could be tricky. So, but I'm glad that you're able to maneuver through that so that they can understand that it is caring, because if it didn't, I wouldn't even say anything. You just go about your business, because I don't care what you do. You do what you want to do. So that happens, because I remember I had a friend, people I grew up with, right? And the parents were kind of strict, but then they had an extra son. I say extra son because it was the last son. He was there's no accidents, but he was that last son. And he did whatever he wanted to do. His mother just was like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. He did whatever he wanted. Not saying she didn't care because she loved her kids, but he was that last one, like, I don't know, like, let him do what he wants to do. The other ones, they're like, we didn't get that. It was so strict. So, yeah, if you didn't, it's good to have that balance that you can be able to do it.
Right.
And not just be burned down, say, well, whatever, they do what they want to do and they'll figure it out. So, yeah, I could appreciate that. And then, so how do I already know Quentin's answer, probably both of you, I already know, how do you instill a sense of purpose and personal responsibility in your students? I don't think I have to ask that question because we already answered that, kind of, mostly.
Right.
But just a quick something that you do to instill that sense of purpose and personal responsibility, because I know music and say it again.
JROTC. Yeah.
I know it, but you also have the lunch detention. That's another monster right there. That's big. So yeah. So how do you instill that sense of purpose and personal responsibility?
Just
I get it.
Just asking the questions and reinforcing it, revisiting, hey, what are you doing? There's a tool that I use as a transition assistance counselor. Basically, it helps you map out your future, and I use that in my classroom. I'll share it with y'all. Um, I'll share it with you, but it basically, like, what do you want to become? And it lays out all the requirements. It lays out the average salary. It lays out where the schools are, the location, jobs. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff. So the biggest thing is helping them carry out their purpose, is not necessarily keeping them on track with career goals and stuff like that, because I think career is a little bit separate than your purpose, but keeping them on a track to, like, somewhat stay in tune with them wanting to become someone, so to say. And I mean, you can always switch up your career and stuff like that, but just encouraging them, like, don't stop trying, don't stop believing, and you can do what it is that you were being called to do.
I like that.
I actually use a so in the Army, we have the Soldier's Creed. We recite it all the time, and it just supposed to give us that motivation, that purpose, direction, and motivation. I actually rewrote it, not rewrote it, but did a version of it in my classroom called the Musician's Creed. And I'm a musician. I'm a dedicated member of a team. I will always place the ensemble first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will believe in myself. I will encourage my buddies. I will practice my instrument. I will perform with focus and great musicality. I can accomplish anything with hard work. I'm a musician. We say that every class. And I'm telling them what their purpose is or how they're going to get there. And that's my reference point. When they do it, there's an action that I'm not favorable or something that's not getting them to their future, I'm like, you tell someone to shut up. First of all, we don't say that here. That's not encouraging your buddies. You're not taking, I can't do this. Oh, you can do it. You can accomplish anything with hard work. You never quit. What do you mean? You never give up. So I use that creed as a way to help change that mentality. And let's push forward and make sure our actions align with what we're saying, because death and life's in the power of the tongue, right? So we're just going to say that all the time. And they'll realize it later. It may not be now. Some realize it now, but they'll realize it later.
I love it. That's awesome. That's amazing. I love it. That was fire.
It is.
That was fire.
That's you see, I have a question for you, but you answered it. You just, how do your military service influence your creativity, as a music educator? And that is it right there.
Yeah.
And then how do you build a positive mission-driven classroom culture? That's it right there. Using that, starting with that creed, and then it becomes part of them. This is who I am. This is what I am. Yeah, I like that. So how does military influence your creativity, Quentin? Because I don't know what kind of creativity you have with JROTC. I don't know how that.
With JROTC, so in the military, we have what we call troop leading procedures before we lead up to go do a mission. We have op orders. Basically, like you outline, here's the situation, here's the mission, here's how we're going to execute, here's command and signal, here's our service and support, and basically this is how we're going to go basically execute a mission. So in JROTC, we implement those same things, but just in a community perspective. So when it comes to visiting a nursing home or going to do color guard for a grand opening of a Walmart or for some Veterans Day program, we just empower the cadets. So we have leadership structure. They make the phone calls to those points of contact. For instance, the nursing home. They contact the nursing home director. Hey, we want to visit on this day. We would like to, what is it that the residents would like to do? We could play these, these games with them. We can put on a demonstration for them, et cetera, et cetera. And basically, I'm using the creativity as if I was as I did in the military as a senior leader, and instead of training actual sergeants, like junior sergeants and soldiers, I'm just training high school students on how to construct a project, how to carry out a project, and basically give them feedback. So they do their command team mission meetings. So they meet as a command team. They all have different sections. So one person is in charge of personnel. There's a section that's in charge of uniforms. There's a section that's in charge of transportation. And they all bring their pieces of the puzzle to that meeting, and they brief it, leading up to the event. I always teach them red, amber, and green. Red meaning, hey, we haven't figured out this part of the mission yet. Amber meaning we kind of sort of got it figured out, and green mean we got this part figured out. All right, so your part's figured out, and then we go each section, and they answer the questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how, and then we execute. So it's fun seeing them act as if they were actually in the military, but they're doing community events, and that's the part of creativity that I love.
Oh, I like that. I volunteered Saturday for NAACP AXO Awards Award. It was the students, this was their first step into the AXO. So if they got gold, then they go to national, and they had the volunteers were JROTC from Franklin High School here in New Jersey. And okay. It was just something to see those students. They didn't have their uniforms on, but I knew who they were.
Right.
You could tell who they were. She kept saying the director, she kept saying it, but it didn't matter, because once she said it, I knew who those students were, and they were there to help. And they were really working, doing their job, making sure we had what we needed. And
right.
Things that I asked adults for. Adults were like, I don't know, wait, I have to get back to you. And then you saw those students taking lead and saying, well, I took a picture of all this, so now let me look through it because I have the information. When I asked an adult, I don't have the information. You need to go talk to. But these students, they took initiative, and right. I appreciate that. That was
right.
Awesome.
Yeah, and absolutely. A part of our curriculum is like service learning projects where we teach just straight up leadership, advanced level leadership.
That's cool, because I look at adults, like I just said, I ask adults, like, well, how do I know if this student is here? How do I know if they register? This one little boy, I mean, he's in high school. I don't know how old he was, but he was like, I said, well, do you have something that you scrolling down, you see their name? He said, no, I took pictures of the registration, and I could tell you who's registered already, who's here, actually here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what you did. Yeah. Yeah, that was good, because it was hard. We're waiting in the room for students to come. We don't know if they were there or not. There should have been some kind of broad like Excel sheet or something that we could look and see who. Nah, we didn't have that, but the students did that. So I thought that was great. And so I have another faith in your calling. So how does, we talk about that military thing. how does your faith influence your teaching and leadership? And do you see your work in the classroom as a form of ministry or service, either whatever we want to call it? So that question, both of you, how does your faith influence your teaching and leadership? And then, is this work ministry or just not just service, but we, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In Timothy, they talk about the gifts of the Spirit, and one of them is teaching. And sometimes, people walk in it. We're walking in it, right? We're all there doing it. So one, I take that very seriously, because okay, this is what I'm doing. So when you say, can it be service and ministry? It's both, because I'm going to serve everyone. And sometimes it's going to be, maybe ministry to everybody, for everyone. Maybe it's going to be a couple students this year. Maybe it might be this one class or that one kid that needs me this year. It's going to look different, how the ministry is going to look. But then how it works, like how it intersects, is a calling board, because I know that this is the purpose that I'm supposed to walk in. So I'm constantly praying, Lord, let me do it right. Use me the right way. Even though I have my own ways of how I think this should be done, or the way I should say it, the way I should approach it, because of this discipline or because of this perspective, because of my own opinions, that may not be how you need me to minister to that student or that class. So take me out of it, Lord. You use me in the way that you're meant to, so I can reach the kid the way that they need to be reached, or the way that's going to help them get to their future. So it's a constant conversation, because I'm looking at any situation, I'm reflecting on it, like, okay, what could I have done? Okay, that's what I should have done. Lord, let me remember that in the moment or the next time, so that I could do what you need me to do. So that's how it really intersects for me. They're the same. It looks different. Sometimes it's service, sometimes it's ministry, but they're both there.
Absolutely, they are.
Yes. Definitely one of my go-tos when it comes to teaching. I know that the words out of my mouth is going to, and my actions, not just my words, but my actions, is going to either impact, influence, or infect students. So just like Isaiah, Lord, take me out of it, right? Self-reliance is the downfall of man, right? And I got my routine every morning. I wake up, I do my reading, I do my workout, and I ask God just to use me as an instrument, for his children. Give me the right words to say, the right actions to portray. And I just honestly strive to operate through purpose. And I know look, without a doubt, I know he is real, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be straight up transparent. There are times where I know a child need to be taken from our school and put into a different environment, and I prayed on it. And at the end of the week, I remember this one kid moved to California with her aunt. It's that real and it's that powerful. Like, I know he's working. There was one time where, I'm not gonna lie, when I started out working, and I'm like, man, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. I have my cadets out on the field, right? This how God works, and I know he's working in me and through me and for me, and for these students. I was out on the field training my cadets for a football game. Color guard. They want to present the colors.
Mm-hmm.
There was some dog poop out there, some dog droppings on the field. So after they finished practicing, I sent them back to the classroom, and I went to the nearest trash can, took a bag out the bottom, and was throwing the trash away. There was one of the custodians was out there, was cutting grass. He's like, "Hey, Saw, come on over." Older gentleman. I knew God spoke through him to my heart, because he basically told me, like, I see what you're being used to do. Keep doing it, Saw. Keep doing it. And I'm like, yes, sir. And I walked back in that class feeling like $100, like $1,000,000. I'm gonna say, but I know it's real, and it comes down to the relationship with him, and just operating through purpose. I think when you do that, like, you stress less. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You don't have to think so much as far as, did I make the right decision? Did I say this right? if you're doing it through him, and I'm not saying I always get it right, I'm not perfect, you know, but doing it through him makes a difference.
Yeah, I did a episode, it wasn't an episode, it was just like a little clip where I was looking at, are we praying before we do things? Because it's evident sometimes that we didn't pray before we answered something, or before we said some things, or before we started our day. Like, Lord, help me to do what is right in your eyes, not what the world says is right. But sometimes we are so quick to respond or to do something, and then we think like, oh, did I do that? But I thank God for the days that in the times and moments that I do listen, that I'm open to hearing God. Because somebody said the other day that God is always talking. The Spirit is always speaking to you. And I'm like, wow, I never thought of it like that. We sit and want to listen for that small voice, but no, if we're in the right space, He's always speaking to us. So that is something that we have to be cognizant of, that when we go into our classroom, this is that oil I'm talking about. Educated with oil, he's with us all the time. So I could appreciate, I could go on and on and on. We have so many things. I just want you to tell us, advice, give us two things. Advice that you would give a teacher who's struggling to manage your classroom, or to motivate their students. They don't have to be struggling or not. Some people are good. This is April already, almost May. Or if somebody doesn't have that JROTC, because in elementary we don't have it, and then what could we do? And just educators who feel like they're not enough, or they're not doing enough. Mind you, this program is for anybody. It's basically towards educators with oil, like that. And then if not, because anybody can watch this and I don't have to be a Christian to listen to this episode. So advice you want to give to a teacher, and then how could we adopt some of these strategies or this energy that you have? That's the two things. Or it might be one thing.
I would suggest SMART goals, and take it with our classroom. So for those who don't know, SMART goals is an abbreviation or an acronym for specific, measurable, accurate, reliable, and timely. Not accurate, attainable, and then timely at the end. So that applies, usually that's for big goals. This is like school improvement plans, PDPs, SGOs, but it could just be for small. I'm trying to get my classroom in order. Okay, what is one thing? Because if this kid is talking back every day, or cussing people out, or throwing tables, or not doing their work, I can't get them to fix all those in one day. So let me get one thing. Then maybe it's going to be, okay, I'm trying to get that kid to participate. That's a specific goal. Or make it more specific. I'm trying to get them to answer one question a class. All right. Is it measurable? Did they answer one question a class? All right. Is it attainable? All right. That's when you consider your resources. When it comes, again, we're talking about management, engagement. Mm-hmm. Do I have the tools to get them there? Okay. What kind of lessons am I going to develop that's going to help him or her, help that student grow, help that student succeed? And then, now we just did is it attainable? Is it relevant? Yeah, this is for the students, because again, I'm trying to get them to their future self, like we've been talking about all night. Is it timely? All right, I'm going to assess this for a month and see how my strategy is working. That's one small example, but it could be any specific thing that you're looking for, a behavior change for your classroom or your students. Just make it smaller. And then when you think you're not enough, you're starting seeing those little small blocks get into place, those small things, and those are going to make the difference.
Oh, that was awesome. We give SMART goals to our students. We don't take them for ourselves, right? My students have SMART goals on their desk. They want to reach this level in reading or math or something. And here, I need the SMART goals. I have goals, but I don't do it like that. Yeah. That's easy, right? And I know about it. Okay, good.
All right. Number one, for anybody out there that have like high school students, that website that I was talking about is mynextmove.org. Listen, that is a powerhouse when it comes to helping students figure out what they may want to do in life. I'm talking about mynextmove.org is a powerful website. It's a military website, but it's open. You know, anybody can use it just to help them get a map their future, so to say, and just guide them in that perspective. So my next move, another advice is reach out to JROTC programs in your area. I can almost guarantee that they would love to come spend time, read books to your students, have lunch with your students, and just spend time with your students. During PE hour, if you want to do some working out, just teach them different marching drills, and just talk to them and encourage them. Any JROTC program, I guarantee you, they'll be on it. Like I am there, right? And just spend time with them. Just some closing advice is ask yourself, right? This is the acronym ASP. Ask yourself, who are you doing the job for? And if you're doing it for your administration and your bosses, you're wrong. If you're doing your job for the students, you're wrong. If you're doing it for you, you're wrong. You need to be doing your job, and this goes back to spiritual, for God. If it's placed in you, if that is your calling, like you're doing it for Him. That's the A. Ask yourself, who are you doing it for, right? And if you're doing it for Him, you're going to have impact in those areas. Serve people. You're a servant. It's a privilege to teach, right? And you're molding students to go. We all heard it before, to become lawyers, astronauts. I mean, boundless, limitless careers out there that teachers impact. That is huge. But seek to serve people, and the P is just please God. That's it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So it's ask yourself who you're doing it for, and
Serve people.
Serve people, and
Please God.
Please God. ASP. Okay, I like that.
And it's less stressful when you operate that way.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. Because yeah. Please God is top, because that's where we get it right. Right. We'll get it right if we do that every single time. I appreciate you, both of you. I could keep on going and going. It's almost 7:00. And 6:00 where you are, right? Is this almost 6:00 for you, Quentin?
Yes.
Yeah. So I appreciate you, and I thank you both for joining me, because this is awesome. I gotta tell you, I love when have black male influence in the school. It just does something for me, because I'm pretty sure I had a couple. I remember we had a shop teacher who was a black man. I don't know anybody else. I remember there was a math teacher. He wasn't mine though. So there were two. That's two. One was in middle school and one was in high school. So there were others. I didn't grow up like that. So just to have you guys in our schools, having an influence on our students, I really appreciate you. So with that said, how do we get in touch with you guys if there is a way? I put your information up there. I hope I did it all right. And I know, Quentin, you go into schools. You have a program.
Yep. I do motivational speaking and some other things as well, but primarily motivational speaking and career mapping.
Okay, so we're gonna use that. I'm gonna make sure it's in the comment section, so that it will be available, not just in passing. I'll make sure I put it in the comment section as well. I'm not sure if I did it.
All right. Just QuentinWashington.com.
Okay, QuentinWashington.com. Isaiah.
I saw the Twitter feed up, and I forgot to update you. Since we chatted and I gave you that information, I graduated with my ed leadership degree. So the MM became
Nice.
EPS. So that's the only update. And I can put that in the chat. Is that the best? You said
Yeah, in the comment section on YouTube. Can you see the comment section?
Yes.
So it's at Mr. Mason _
EDS now.
EDS.
I got that degree, so which I'm grateful
All
for.
right, look at you. All right.
On Twitter. Oh wait, I put that in the wrong section.
I'll copy it.
Okay, thank you.
Then put it in the comments on YouTube, and I'll do that for both. But I appreciate you again. Like I just said, this has been awesome, and I've been meeting some people. I didn't do that to him, did I? No, I didn't lose. I didn't lose Quentin. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take us out of here. Thank you for joining. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. And she said this was great. I appreciate that. Like, share, and subscribe. Remember to share with another educator, especially those of faith. And they don't have to be, because we're going to make disciples out here. So again, thank you. And then have a blessed day. I'm going to play that.
Subscribe to Educators with Oil podcast on your preferred platform and join Ronnette on this mission to empower teachers through the wisdom of the Bible. Because when biblical strategies meet the classroom, extraordinary teaching happens.
Educators, let's shine a light on our classrooms. See you on Educators with Oil podcast, where teaching and faith unite.